already opened. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there's so many scary things about this that we really and it really is bring me to this point. Um, again, it's not working. Can you flick that, Ron? It's too bad knowledge and wisdom aren't the same. Okay, we've got more knowledge than we know what to do with, literally, right? But that doesn't mean that we're wise, and that's really what James wants to address this morning. I don't want to spend. You can tell I get a little excited talking about some of these technology things because I think it is exciting, and I understand it's scary. But that's really not the point of the lesson. The point of the lesson is there's a difference between knowledge, which affects our wisdom. Okay, it can uh, contaminate our wisdom. Even I think we'll find because what has all of this technology done to our uh, how we think of ourselves? Okay. Makes us less dependent upon God. Okay, Steve. Okay. Oh yeah. It's a huge problem in our colleges because you can go out and say, I need a paper on Middle Ages history from year to year, and it can generate a paper, you know, given whatever parameters you give it. Yeah, Mike. Yeah. 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 Ron. Okay. That's a great point because if you've got heaven on earth, what makes you seek heaven above? We really, it's back. It's an amazing time to be alive right now. We've got have ever had it. Okay, it's not even close. Greg. Okay. Yeah. 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 It definitely is distanced us, even though it's supposed to bring us together. I think is part of it. Yeah, Paul. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's kind of this dumbing down that Mike mentioned. Yeah. Toby. Oh yeah. Yeah. Just to push back on Greg a little bit, for example, not to personal. How far back do you want to go? I don't know that I want to go back very far. I'm kind of spoiled. Yeah. Yeah. That's not a big deal for me. I couldn't work on them before with computers, so no big loss in my regard. But yeah, so I just want to get you thinking. But part of this, as mankind, it has raised our pride level. I can't find the right word there. We take pride in how far we've come. Our need for God has been diminished out of what we've accomplished. Kind of what Ryan was alluding to there. And pride leads us to rebellion against God eventually. All right, and we some of the things that we can do now, if we went back 200 years and tried to explain it to people, what would they think? That's a miracle. That's godlike. You can fly, and you can talk to anybody in the world at any time. I mean, there's some. You see where I'm going with that? We've come so far and we begin to think that of ourselves. Probably not say it out loud, and probably don't even fully acknowledge it. But we begin to think in those terms of we're very powerful, right, Barbara? Yeah, yeah. And again, this dumbing down that we're all being dumber, made dumber because of it, and more dependent upon it. Yeah, I think that's a real concern. Um, Now, while our knowledge will, I think, continue to accelerate, I think it's the genie out of the bottle. There's no stopping that, right? Our wisdom, okay, not just our intellect, but even our wisdom seems to be stepping back and decelerating and devolving instead of evolving, okay? As an example of that, take out your phone if you want to and ask Siri how many genders there are. I did it this morning. Two sources. One, there's 72 genders. The other one was there's an infinite number of genders because it all depends upon your personality. Yeah, well, that's the distinction they make. There's a difference between biological sex and your gender. And gender has more to do with your personality and a lot of other contributing things in there. Wise? Well, that's if you turn on any kind of news broadcast or technology, you get any kind of news feed, that's being discussed right now. Is it wise to have biological men competing with biological women in sports? To be allowed into their bathrooms? To be imprisoned with women and men together? Yeah, I mean, we still have a portion of godly wisdom in this room. None of us see that as wise. But we're the minority. Okay? Oben? Okay. Yeah, and we're not going to go there. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, there's a lot of politics behind a lot of the DEI and all of that, right? And we don't have time for that this morning. Okay? What I'm really wanting you to see is there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. And at some point, the knowledge begins to affect what you think is wise. All right? Um, Actually, I skipped the Romans 1:21. Paul said it best, thinking becomes futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools. Okay. I think we're very much looking at that. Maybe more now than ever. It's and to some of y'all's points is this is really could become an existential threat if we don't get a hold of it for humanity. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Man, I love YouTube. I mean, you can figure out anything. There's a YouTube video out there for it if you want to know how to do something. Steve? I do. I seen his post this morning where he'd been on it like a week, and he was just kind of reporting back how his week had went. Yeah, yeah. It's something we probably need to discuss as a congregation on doing a technology fast. I mean, fasting is a biblical principle in doing without something to kind of refocus yourself on God. And some of us may need to do that on food, but all of us probably need to do it on technology. Fast for a day without food, and I bet you can do that easier than you can do a fast for a day without technology. Lock your phone up and don't touch it. Don't get on the computer. Don't turn on the TV. Go a whole day. Y'all want a challenge? Unofficially, let's all do that for one day this week. I don't know that I can. I conduct business on a computer if I don't have my computer. Jim? Yeah. 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 And were you happier with it or without it? Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's get into that. Now, how do we gain this wisdom? Um, that was the introduction, and I'm already 25 minutes in. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. One of us. You're right. Fine. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me tell you how my morning went, and I know we need to move on. I'm going to review my lesson, and I'm thinking I might need a little more on this technology part of this, which obviously I was wrong. And so I look up AI. I'm going to add that little bit in here. Hour and a half later, I'm still looking at AI stuff on YouTube and Facebook and whatever. After a while, it learns. My little tablet learns what I want to read about, and the next video is another AI video, right? And so, hour and a half. I was surprised. I thought, I got to go get ready. I was sitting there. I don't know. I got lost in it. And it's so easy to do. So easy to do. It's not wise. So let's find out what wisdom is. James 3, 13 through 16. Who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct, let him show his works in the meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast and be false to the truth. This is not the wisdom that comes down from above. but is earthly, unspiritual, demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder in every vile practice. Okay, the passage begins with a question: who is wise and understanding among you? Okay, and so we need to, what does wise mean? So the word here in the original language is meaning moral insight, skill in handling daily affairs. This is not smart. This is wise. There's a difference. Okay, this is the wisdom associated with God. How to handle your day-to-day affairs in a moral and righteous way. Okay, that's what he's asking. Who of y'all? He's saying who has this kind of wisdom? Okay, and he's going to challenge him. And what's he say that it is a sign of that? By his conduct, by his conduct, let him show his works in the meekness of wisdom. Okay. Now we're given two kinds of wisdom out there. This is a common biblical Psalms. You're going to see godly versus ungodly is the words that's used there a lot. Paul in Galatians refers works of the flesh versus fruits of the spirit. All right, which is wise and unwise. Okay. Jesus, y'all tell me, how did Jesus talk about these two kinds of wisdom? An example. Yeah. Yeah. Beginning of knowledge is the fear of God, is another one from the Old Testament. How about Jesus, though? He uses a couple different examples of wisdom. Or, yeah, wisdom versus not wise. Yeah, Randy? Wisdom's from above compared to the demonic earthly wisdom from below. Okay. How about the wise man? Wise man builds his house on the rock, builds his house on me. Foolish man builds his house on the worldly wisdom, on the sand that shifts and moves, doesn't know what gender it is. Okay? That's worldly wisdom. He talks about a broad way and a narrow way, right? That's a division of wisdom and not wise, all right? Has somebody had their hand up? Yeah, Jerry. We're to pray for godly wisdom. Yeah. Right. Right. That's right. Yeah, and part of that takes us to the next point. Um, Two kinds of wisdom, which we talked about, and then meekness and humility. He very first thing he does is connects wisdom with humbleness and with meekness and with our how we see ourselves. And part of that going to God is admitting, God, I need help. I don't know the answer here. Give me a portion of your wisdom in the decision that I'm having to make. That takes some humility, whereas the world thinks it has all the answers. Okay? So that's a great point. Yeah. Yeah. Now, what tends to happen is when we begin to acquire knowledge, how do we do that? How do we acquire knowledge? There's a formal way that we do that. Um, Study, typically through education, right? And as you can go and get your bachelor's degree, okay, so that raises your level of knowledge, right? And then if you want to pursue, you can go get your master's degree and your doctorate degree, your PhD. All that's great. That's fine and good, okay? Become a doctor, become an attorney, get certified in some other type of profession. what tends to come along with that? Pride, right? And once that pride, you feel you're smarter because you know more, technically. Okay? And pride begins to enter into your life. And then how does that affect relationships? Okay? Become more arrogant. Do you know people that are doctors and lawyers and PhDs? Okay, some of them don't. We don't want to paint a blanket here. You know, I know lots of good attorneys and that are moral people. Okay, um, doctors as well. But what's the God complex? Who's that normally associated with? Doctors, surgeons in particular, because they literally hold the power of life in their hands. They feel like. In terms of affecting relationships, how can that affect in a marriage? You have one highly educated and one that probably paid for the education. I remember one of the first jobs I had, this lady was going through a divorce. I had just met her and she was in the middle of it. She had been working, had paid for her husband's medical degree. The week after he got certified as a doctor, he filed for divorce. You know, she supported him through that whole. It contaminated their marriage. His pride did. Okay. Have you seen it affect churches? This, I have. You know, there's I don't know what to call it, but it other than ego, come and affect churches. It can affect a child's attitude towards their parent, right? They see them in a different once they get educated. Okay, we have to be very careful with this knowledge that we acquire if it doesn't come with wisdom. In fact, James, he's got some pretty language here for this this earthly wisdom. What's the other words he uses for it here? Demonic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. I think he thrives on it. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, and we could spend another hour talking about that part of it. You know how it's affecting our kids. Um, where does he say it's going to lead to? Well, it's going to lead to disorder in every vile practice. Okay. It's going to cause problems in our family. It's going to cause problems in our churches. Okay. In our marriages, in your work relationships. Okay. And it truly is sourced in evil. Okay. And it's a tool used and wielded by Satan. Okay. Yeah. Well, and again, on this technology, there's all kinds of good. Man, we've benefited so much from it, but it can be used in so many evil ways as well. So again, we've got to have some godly wisdom in how we use it and how we apply it and how we let it affect our lives. And I think most of us are probably at the point we understand that it affects our lives too much, right? We need to probably separate ourselves from it a little bit and do a fast. Do it for a day and see how your day goes. Um, 3:17 and 18. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere, and a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. Okay, so he lists things here, and I just want to go down the list real quick before we run out of time and talk about these are the attributes of true wisdom, of heavenly wisdom, okay, godly wisdom. And again, this whole passage began with a question: who is wise among you? He's wanting you to do a self-assessment here, right? He's not asking you to assess whether Jim's wise or not, okay? He's wanting to know, he's asking you, are you wise? Is your life full of strife and turmoil and division and drama? Or is it going to have these attributes? First of all, pure. Okay, so what does pure mean? This is one of the overall themes of the letter. If you remember, we introduced three of them, and one of them was we need to be pure in terms of our inner relationship with the world. Okay, we have to be in the world, but we don't have to be of the world. All right, so we got to maintain some purity there. All right, and so first of all, is your wisdom leading you to more purity or less purity? If you want to think of it in those terms. Jesus said it in another way, Matthew 23, 25, and 26. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you clean the outside of the cup and the plate, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and the plate, and the outside will also be clean. What's he saying there? They were not pure. Their outside lives were pure. Maybe some of us have that problem. We've cleaned up what everybody sees. We may not go to the bars, and we may not drink, and we may not curse. Right? We've cleaned up what? But the heart's not right. We still harbor that evil inside of us. Well, that's the very definition of purity. It can't be contaminated inside or out. If you are, you're impure. Yeah. Karen? Yeah. Yeah. So, and we all had that at one point, right? When we were baptized, we got that remission of sin. Do you remember how that felt? It's been a long time ago for some of us, but I remember it. How do we maintain that? If we're long, we know we get contaminated again. But it says, what does it tell us in 1 John? If you walk in the light as he is in the light, we'll continue to enjoy that. We can be repurified. Okay, but we have to be honest and sincerely seeking after him. All right, so Paul? Yeah. Yeah. Jesus, just another accusations at the Pharisees, right? They were corrupted on the inside. Okay? I wonder what he would say to us. Hopefully, it wouldn't be the same thing he said to them. Yeah, Greg? Yeah. Well, to keep us in that light so that we can remain in purifying blood of Christ, remain in him. Yeah, that's the number one purpose for why we come together as a family. Peaceable. Um, again, worldly wisdom. Think of the times in your life where you did not have peace. What caused it? War? You say life? Strife? Selfishness? Okay. Uh, most of the times in my life, it may not have been, it doesn't even have to be the direct result of something you did, but it's something you've got drawn into by the associations you've had. I've had clients that have drawn me into situations that were destroyed my peace. And in hindsight and with some wisdom, I probably wouldn't take those clients on today. All right, they were more trouble literally than they were worth. Just and lost sleep. Okay, think of it in terms of the times you've had trouble. It may not be directly your fault. Okay, but you got drawn in perhaps by greed or pride or whatever. Are you with me on that? Does that make sense? Is anybody, can you relate to that? I can think, and I've had a pretty good life. I had a lot of disruption, but the times I've had sleepless nights, it was because of selfish ambition or greed or something like that that led me into that. Oben? Yeah, right, right. Um, the wise person is always seeking harmony in their lives and some peace in their lives. We understand that peace is so valuable. Okay, if you've ever lived without it, you understand how important it is to you. The wise person is gentle. The word here originally is used to describe God, His dispositions toward us. Okay, meaning that we're sinners, right? We're rebels. We've rebelled against Him, and yet He was gentle with us and brought us back into relationship with Him. Godly wisdom is used in our relationships with one another with the same way. If you've been wrong, remember how God treated you. Pay it forward. All right? Be gentle with each other. And we're running out of time here real quick. Open to reason. This doesn't mean that you're weak or you're spineless. This is being flexible, being accommodating, being persuadable. Okay? You're a listener. You can empathize. Okay? Someone that's open to reason. That's a wise person. Okay? Kind of back to what Oben was saying, considering all the facts and circumstances. Yeah, right? Right, right. You have to put yourself last in some of those situations. Toby? Okay. Okay. Get somewhere? Okay. Um, full of mercy. Again, along that same line, compassionate, uh, sympathetic. That's a wise person. Full of good fruit. It's going to take the next step. It's one thing to have feelings of compassion. It's another thing to have fruits of compassion. Okay, and actually take that step. That action moves to a good deed, a helping hand. All right, and then impartial. This is treatment of everybody the same, no matter who they are, where they're from, income level, color of skin. You're going to treat everybody the same. That's wisdom, godly wisdom. And then finally, sincerity. I don't know that I need to define that. This is honesty, no pretending, no need to conceal motives. Okay, everybody knows that you're a sincere person. What you say, they take to heart and can trust it. Okay. So, again, asking the questions. We'll end with this. Ask the question, which one typifies your life? Hopefully it's the latter. And it's a matter of degree. We can all become more wise, of course. So let's try to seek that. Yeah. 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 Raymond? Yeah. Goes a long ways to getting you to the right place, doesn't it, Dean? Okay. Okay. As a teacher, I'm sure. Yeah. 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 I'll leave you with one quote. Psalms 111:10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All who follow his precepts will have a good understanding. Thank y'all.